Hi, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use your cleanser and serum. And I want to share with you an overall general guide so that you can see how much you need to use of each product, which you can apply to any cleanser or serum that you may be using, as well as share with you the demonstration so that you can see it visually. And by the way, you will find a general guide in the description box down below, and you can even download it. Now I have the setup right here to give you some examples and so that I can share it with you visually as well, to make sure that every one of you is seeing the amount of product and is able to understand how you can apply this to when you're doing this at home. So first of all, we are going to get started with the first step, which is washing your face using a cleanser. Make sure that it's working well for your skin type and your specific needs so that you can properly remove any excess oil, dirt and sweat from the skin, and even maybe sunscreen and makeup. Then you may need to adjust your cleanser accordingly. So if you should have worn like a mineral, or let's call it a physical sunscreen that's like not easy to remove, or really a bit more of a stubborn makeup that you're currently wearing, your usual cleanser may not be strong enough. This is where you need to move towards an oil or balm cleanser to get proper, to really break it down and get it off the skin. Now I'm not going to keep my time too much towards an oil or balm cleanser since I want to go with the most common cleansers. But if you want to see the entire application, I'm going to leave it in the top right corner, because you have your oil or balm cleansers or water-based cleansers. And with an oil or balm cleanser, they do tell you, well, apply to dry skin and then rinse it off with water. So if you're trying to remove sunscreen and makeup with your oil or balm cleanser, you're going to apply it on top of it and then massage it all over before you're going to rinse it off with water. Whereas with your water-based cleansers, most commonly they will tell you apply to wet skin and then rinse it off with water. So there you can see there's a difference in on how you should use your cleanser, so make sure that you're going to adjust it accordingly. But one thing that won't change is how much you're going to use. And this is, as a general guide, about a coin size amount. So it doesn't matter if this is an oil cleanser, balm cleanser or water-based cleanser, always go about with a coin size amount. If you should have a cleanser with a pump, this is more or less about 1 to 2 pumps. If you should have a cleanser in a tube, well, squeeze out about a coin size amount on the palm of your hand. Or if you should have a cleanser in a jar, well, scoop out about a coin size amount. This should be more than enough to cover your entire face and neck to properly get everything off the skin before, again, rinsing it off with water. Now, when using your cleanser, this can be done above the sink or in the shower. Either way is fine. I'm now going to show you how you can do this above the sink, but please make sure that by the end of your cleansing step that you can properly get everything off the skin. There shouldn't be a residue left before you're moving on to your specific serum. And so I'm going to go with a water-based cleanser, since using it on wet skin and then removing it with water is the most common way, so that you can see this visually. And so if you should have a different cleanser, go ahead and replace it. That's completely fine as long as it works well for you. Now again, in this case, we are going to apply to wet skin. So when using water in general, when washing your face, I recommend using about lukewarm water to warm water, so it feels comfortable on the skin, and then later on this can help you to get the cleanser better off the skin rather than using cold water. So please keep this in mind when doing so. So let's go ahead and do this. So again, this one has a pump, so I'm going to use about 1 to 2 pumps, which is about a coin size amount. Rub your hands together and then gently massage it over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. If you're trying to remove sunscreen and or makeup, you may want to massage it over your face and neck for about 2 minutes if necessary. Just make sure to not get it into your eyes nor into your mouth. If that's the case, rinse it with water. So, and now you can go ahead and again rinse it off with lukewarm water to warm water. Now, especially when doing this above the sink or using an oil or balm cleanser to remove your sunscreen and or makeup, I highly advise using a makeup cloth, like those clean makeup cloths or microfiber cloths. Those are extremely soft on the skin. Wet them and then squeeze them out and then gently swipe it across your face to make sure that there's no residue left when working with your cleansers, so that you then have a freshly washed and clean face before moving on to your serum step. Now wet it. Now go ahead and squeeze it out. and then swipe it across your face and neck. So, and now it is important to take a clean towel and remove the remaining water drops on the skin surface by gently patting it all over. Please do not rub. This is an essential step to do so that you're not coming across any pilling issues when layering your serum later on afterwards, and that it feels comfortable on the skin. Because if you're going to mix your serum with the remaining water drops on the skin surface, this will feel uncomfortable. It starts to dry and then gets tight on the skin. And again, the pilling is really a big issue that can occur. So please don't forget to do this properly with your towel. So once you're done with your cleansing step, you can immediately move on to your serum. Now again, your serum should fit with your skin type and specific skin concerns. So this can be an hydrating serum for brightening, for fine lines and wrinkles, for maybe just exfoliation. So whatever serum you may be choosing, make sure that it fits well with your specific needs. Now one thing that's not going to change is how much you're going to use of your specific serum. And you need to adjust the amount accordingly to the texture of your serum. So you can say the thicker the texture of your serum, the less product you need to use because you have more time to blend it all over. The thinner the texture, the more product you need to use. And so I have some examples right here to give you an idea of what this can be. So let's say you have an extremely lightweight water-like serum that you may be currently using, whatever this may be. It's purely about the texture. Then go ahead, grab your very thin water-like serum. If it has a texture something like this, where it really just looks like water that you're going to squeeze out, well then basically use between 5 to 8 drops. This would be the general guide. If you want to include your neck as well, you maybe want to go up to 10 drops, but I wouldn't use more than that. This should be enough to apply thinly all over your face and neck, and it should absorb pretty fast. And so this would be then the general guide if you should have such a texture of serum. Now if you now say, well, I have kind of a texture in between, it's not too water-like, but it's not really stiff either, so it's kind of like still a bit runny, well then I have an example right here, which would be then a texture like this. So you can see it starts to get a bit thicker than the previous one, and as a general guide you can go with about like 3 to 5 drops. Again, this should be enough for your face and neck. And as you can see, I'm going down with the amount of product that you would need to use because you have a bit more time to blend it all over. Now if you then should come across a serum that has a bit more of a thicker, stickier texture, well then go ahead and use between 2 to 3 drops, because if you would use more than that, it starts to feel uncomfortable on the skin surface. Therefore you need to reduce it even further, and you have more time to blend it all over. So this would be the general guide if you should have a serum that comes with a dropper of how much, like many drops you can count and then apply to the skin. However, if you should have a serum at home that comes with a pump, such as this one right here, well then I recommend as a general guide to go with about 1 to 2 pumps so that you have enough for your face and neck. So this would be 1 pump. See how this goes. If that shouldn't be enough, depending on how far you want to blend it, well then you can add another pump to it so that you have enough again to thinly blend it all over. So this would be the general guide based on the texture of your serum and kind of like the packaging as well on how you're going to dispense the product. When it comes to the application, depending on the texture of your serum, you can go with a few drops on the palm of your hand or your fingertips, or immediately like place it to your face and neck and then start blending it all over. Whatever method will work the best for you, go ahead and do so. There isn't really a right or wrong. But one thing that you shouldn't forget when using your specific serum is read on the back of the packaging what it will tell you based on how you should use it. Certain serums are maybe only like spot treatments. Well, then of course just use it on those specific areas. Other ones can be used on your face and neck. Depending on the serum that you may be using, specifically now when thinking about maybe an exfoliating acid serum or retinol or retinoids, well, usually they will tell you, please do not use it around the eyes, like do not use it on top of your eyelids. Please do not bring it too close to the actual lower lash line or corners of your eyes. And to some extent, they may even tell you avoid the eye contour. Same would apply to the corners of your nose, as well as your corners of your lips or the entire lip, because those parts are usually the more sensitive parts on the face. And so therefore you need to adjust it accordingly based on how you're going to do the application. So keep those points in mind, because those are more sensitive areas. If you would use such products on those areas, this can lead to sensitivity. But overall, you have the general guide in mind of how much you need to use if you're applying a specific serum all over your face and neck. And so I'm just going to go with one example that has more like a thicker, stickier texture. So again, with this one, I would use about 2 to 3 drops for my face and neck, and I'm now going to do the application. With such serums, I prefer to use a few drops on the palm of my hand, rub my hands together, and then gently blending it all over. If your serum should start to foam when doing the application, don't worry, that's normal. So, and once you have applied it all over your face and neck, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And then there you go with the general guide plus the entire application on how you could use those two products, your cleanser as well as your specific serum. Now, when it comes to if you should have more than one serum that you want to include in this little application, I always recommend layering from the thinnest to the thickest texture. But I do have more specific videos about those points as well. So I'm going to leave some of the videos at the end of this video, but you will find more of the skincare videos on my YouTube channel. But one thing that you shouldn't forget, especially during daytime, is your sunscreen to protect the skin from the damaging UV rays. In the evening, there's no sunscreen needed, and you can just keep it as simple as that. And then there you go. Now, this is the video that I wanted to share with you today. I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did so, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.